Thank you to old person.
Thank you very much.
I want to show what differences of these three old persons face. Oh.
16.
When I meet people, I always consider we are same human being. The way we born, the way we die, all are same. So I always, start my talk, brothers, sisters. Actually, we are same. We are brothers, sisters. As a matter of fact, 7 billion human beings are human brothers, sisters. And also, I feel a lot of problem which we are facing is we are too much emphasize the secondary level of differences. Different nationality, different religion, different system, or different color. Even within same religious sort of say follower, or same nation, same color, again we make distinction, rich and poor, and influential, uninfluential, educated, not educated. So all these problems, which essentially man-made problem, these problems, with too much emphasis on the secondary level of differences. So the only way, there's no other choice. In order to reduce that conflict, we have to go deeper level. We are same human being. Everyone want peaceful life, happy life, same. So therefore, I always start call brothers, sisters. The different rank or these things are not important. Now these days, you see, there are now some kind of sort of expression. We are citizen of the global. And also, you say, some express one world. I think that these sort of thinking, these views are, I think, very, very helpful. I think in the past, with too much emphasis, these differences, then even before First World War, there's a lot of killing on this continent here, in the European continent. A lot of killing. And past century, First World War, Second World War, mainly involved in Europe. And later Japan also, you see, joined. Mainly, you see, this war took place in this continent. If at that time, people, emphasis, we are same. I think same spirit today, European Union. If that spirit, you see, in the early part of 20th century happened, I think First World War, Second World War may not take place. With too much emphasis, my nation, their nation. And then too much self-centered attitude. That creates strong feeling, we and they. So, it is not just sufficient to complain. Now we must look the real causes of these things. That's important. So, now I think due to global warming, some nature disaster. So on top of that, problem which essentially our own creation. Then we do not want problem, suffering. And then on top of nature disaster, we also create more problems. It motivated the extreme self-centered attitude. So now, time comes, we have to think. Oneness of 7 billion human beings. And then human nature, since we come from our mother, we survived with others' affection. So now, some scientists, now they describing basic human nature is more compassionate. So that really gives us hope. If basic human nature is anger, angry, then no hope. But basic human nature, more compassionate. So then, this intelligence, human intelligence, extraordinary intelligence, should help, should be disposal of compassion, not anger, not hatred. So like that. So therefore, I think now time comes, we have to pay more attention about our inner value. That's part of basic human nature is affection or compassion. Like that. So now let us try. Is it to show, firstly, ourselves, pay more attention about our inner value. That's compassion. And then share with more people. I think now time comes. We have to start some movement. That's my view. So, sometimes the people consider or feel practice of compassion is signs of weakness. That's totally wrong. Showing anger is signs of weakness. Showing affection is signs of strength. And then also you see people, sometimes you feel, practice of compassion is something good for others, but not necessarily yourself. And sense of concern about others' well-being sometimes bring additional sort of worry. Wrong. Totally wrong. So practice of warm-heartedness, first the benefit go to yourself. Okay, help. Correction. My English okay? But in the front of the French, my English, broken English, looks marvelous. And in front of Englishmen, then sometimes I really feel a little hesitant. So in any way, you see, when you develop the warm feeling, firstly, you see, you get peace of mind. And that also brings self-confidence. With self-confidence and a more compassionate person, you can carry all your work more transparent, more truthful, more honest. As a result, you get more friends. Friendship entirely depends on trust. Trust comes only when you show them your sincere sort of sense of concern of their well-being. Then trust comes. Trust cannot buy by money or through bully bring trust. Impossible. Just the opposite. So therefore, in order to become one happy, relaxed person, ultimate source is compassion here. It's not necessary to cultivate cultivate through some other method. No, from birth, we already equipped these things. The only thing is, when we grown up, we neglected these values. And I think here, I always feel, and also telling, the existing modern education system is not adequate. Pay attention about these inner values. So, the modern education oriented about material value, then gradually you see people neglect about these inner value. So a lot of trouble is happen. If we keep this basic human value alive, and education should strengthening these basic value, use human intelligence. Education related with our intelligence. Intelligence must use for further strengthening our basic value. So that is, up to now, not that way. So we have to think very seriously how to educate people to maintain, to sustain these basic human value and the further strengthening. Although with the help of some scientists and some educationists, we already do working that. So within, I think, 1 year, I think we may, we can sort of produce some curriculum about sort of for inner value, strictly not based on religious belief. Because you see, in this now, out of 7 billion human beings, over 1 billion non-believer. It is fact. Then if may I say so, among the believer also, some strange believer also there are. These, I think, you see, due to lack of moral principle. So therefore, this is our sort of thinking curriculum entirely based on scientific finding and our common experience and common sense. So there's one part. Actually, my number one commitment as a human being, so trying to promote sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. Then, my second commitment, then I consider I am one Buddhist, one practitioner, and also student of those great thinkers or masters of Nalanda. And then also, you see, look, today's world, not only in the past, even today, some conflict in the name of religion. So we need, effort to bring harmony among different religious traditions is highly necessary. And the question, is it possible? Yes, answer is 1,000 times yes, yes, yes. Why? All major religious traditions, as far as their teaching is concerned, same. Practice of love, forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline, contentment. All religion, you see, teach us same. At witness, I notice number of Christian, their way of life truly carried that way. Wonderful. And also among the Muslim, very sincere practitioner Muslim. Wonderful. As far as Jews and Hindus like that. And then look India. Over 2,000 years, beside homegrown religion, from outside India, Zoroastrian, ancient Persia's religion, then Judaism, Christianity, Islam come from outside, but over 2,000 years, you see, these different traditions live together. Occasionally some problems, that's understandable. As a human society, some mischievous people always there. In order to show goodness of human being, some mischievous people show bad things. So overall, I think India is the example. Different traditions can live together with mutual respect and furthermore mutual learning. I think in ancient time, many Nalanda masters, they also learn a lot of things from non-Buddhist tradition. And similarly, among the non-Buddhist tradition, follower of non-Buddhist tradition, they also should learn from some of the Buddhist masters or say the concept, particularly in logic field, or a lot of sort of visual learning, like that. So, it is possible. Firstly, all carry same message of love. And secondly, India is the example. So, therefore, the rest of the world, see, we can develop religious harmony. So here I want to tell you, at the recent months, I'm telling the media people describe Buddhist terrorist, Muslim terrorist. That's, I think, wrong word. People who indulge terrorist activities, actually no longer Buddhist and Muslim practitioner. So, according Islam tradition, Muslim tradition, anyone who indulge bloodshed, in reality, no longer Islam practitioner. According Islam, respect other, and particularly respect and take special care about female. Some my friend, also some scholar about Quran, they say that. And I already witnessed a wonderful Muslim there. So this shows all major religious traditions have same potential to produce a wonderful human being. So, I think the wording Buddhist terrorist and Muslim terrorist, I think that creates wrong impression. Some mischievous people, among the Buddhists also there, among the Hindus, among the Christians, among the Jews, And everywhere, as a human community, some mischievous people always there. But these will never representing their real tradition. So religious harmony is possible, very possible. And in the philosophical field, there are differences. Even within Buddhist tradition, among Buddhist a follower of Buddha, there are different philosophical views. Mainly Vivashek, Sotantik, Chitta Mantra, and Madhyamika. And within each of them, you see, because of the subdivisions there are a lot of differences. And Buddha himself, you see, taught different philosophical views. Why? Even among Buddha's own follower, there are people who have different mental disposition. So it is necessary, different philosophical views, in order to strengthening their practice or their conviction. So, this clearly shows on this planet, over 2,000 years, a different place, a different environment. You see, these great, founder of these great religions came. According to the different environment, different way of life, there are differences of mental disposition. So therefore, it is necessary, different philosophical views. All these different philosophical views, same goal, to strengthening, to bring conviction about the value of compassion. So no problem. So therefore, here, my brothers, sisters, I want to request you, please, you see, make effort, promotion of oneness of humanity, sense of oneness of humanity, and then religious harmony, these two things. Please, if you consider me as your friend, then please think these things are more serious. If you consider me a stranger, then doesn't matter. I think each religion have certain concept, one truth, one religion. So in terms of one individual, concept, one truth, one religion is very important. Is it to keep single-pointed faith. In ancient time, okay, people follow of different tradition, and his or her own area, just concept of one truth, one religion. Now today, modern world, not only nation to nation, but also continent to continent, heavily close relations. So under such circumstances, the concept of several truth, several religion is relevant. So in terms of community, several truth, several religion is relevant. In terms of individual practitioner, yes, concept of one truth, one religion is relevant. Okay. Thirdly, I'm Tibetan. And I think Tibetan, inside Tibet as well outside, they trust me. They put a lot of hope on me. So I want to tell you something. Since political matter, responsibility is concerned, since 2000, 11, I totally retired. So we already achieved elected political leadership. So they can, they handle these things. Not only myself retired, but 4-century-old tradition, Dalai Lama institution automatically become head of both temporal and spirituality. Now that formally, happily, proudly ended. So now future, even Dalai Lama institution remain nothing to do with the Tibetan sort of temporal sort of responsibility like that. So now my sort of commitment, my sort of responsibility is for preservation of Tibetan culture. I really feel Tibetan culture is culture of peace, culture of non-violence, ultimately a culture of compassion. So that kind of culture is really worthwhile to preserve. And now today in China, about 400 million Buddhists there. Many of them already showing genuine interest or genuine faith about Tibetan Buddhist tradition. They consider Tibetan Buddhist tradition is pure lineage of a Nalanda tradition. So Chinese Buddhists and Tibetan Buddhists, same root from Nalanda. And then another thing, the environment. One Chinese environmentalist, wrote article, I saw that. The effect from Tibetan plateau for global warming is as much as South Pole and North Pole. So he described Tibetan plateau as third pole. So the special care about environment or ecology in Tibetan plateau is something not only concern for 6 million Tibetan people, but I think probably over 1 billion human beings' life depend on, major rivers which come from Tibet. And also, the Tibetan climate, also, affect, the surroundings, the area where, like that. So, these two fields I fully committed. And then I noticed, Tibetan, our knowledge about the Nalanda tradition, and specifically in the field of science of mind and logic, I think Tibetan sort of knowledge become quite unique. So worthwhile to preserve. So I fully committed. So whenever I come to West, like Europe or America, I never propagate Buddha Dharma. It is better to keep your own traditional sort of religion. That's much safer. I notice that some people from the West change religion, then eventually confused. So much better to keep your own tradition. However, among millions of people, some individual may have some genuine interest. Then in that case, please study more. That is important. Sometimes people almost like fashion wear, almost like fashion, and strange sort of dress like that. And then they say, the practitioner or follower of Tibetan Buddhist tradition. Very superficial. Please study more. That's important. That I want to tell you. So, that's all. Now some questions. And question, some critical, complicated question. I love that. So bring more complicated questions.
Your Holiness, this is a question as a practitioner. I would like to know what can be done when the path becomes dry and becomes arid, how can we find the joy again in the practice of meditation and of mindfulness?
As far as, according to my own experience, there's some rituals, some visualization, some deities, are not much effective. The real sort of effect comes from practice of altruism, Changju Kisem. That also, Dakshen Nyamje. And then the understanding about nothing independently exists. So here, you see, one my friend, one American scientist, when I met him, his age already 84. He told me, few decades his dealing with people who much disturbed, mainly due to anger. He found the angry person, you see, look, you see, the object which they feel anger, the object appears something very negative. But 90% of that negativeness is mental projection, not reality. So here, I think you can translate. No. You can translate. Deja shedan timusum. Any number dollar Johnson. 자식들다. 두든 미국 진실로 템블레네 용을 두르스. 와다 되게 갈수 거슬러이나. 차단제야디 취미 이직 남도를 지기도가. 취미 이직 남도디 유지 담바 아체를 짐베 타네 용되기도가. 그래서 동번이 따왔더기 텐데기 유랑은 주고 때네 매버지 khoda 쳐버지 토마 투중기 고알레 때네 섬중기 네바 토 때네 양양 집으잖아 로를 주고 땡땡 주고 산다 동번이 따와다 전주 섬담다나 당만의 타내기 산제비 축 식지로 오면 뒤도내기 그래 지금 저거를 지금 넘버를 하루를 공지 줘야 되면 같이 하신다. 40일 공부하다. 40일 공부할 때 그거 지금 내가 그때 운동. 다 잡고 공부해, 다 쉬워 공부해, 배 쉬워 공부할 때 사실 기분도 봐. 뭐는 전에 스물 구조 등에디, 그 스물 구조 되어서 오래 이모션을 구조 당에디 동반이 있다 와다. 다시 이제 장죽선들이. So, in order to practice seriously about Buddhism in general, particularly the Nalanda tradition, we have to use our intelligence maximum way, through that way transform because of the emotion. That's the way. So, study is very important. Just to meditate like this, not much effect. Next question.
My mother, father, my sister and I, we've come all the way from Sri Lanka to see you. And we have a question for the young people of Sri Lanka. As you know, we've gone through nearly 30 years of civil war in Sri Lanka. We've gone through 30 years of civil war. And what is the message for young people of Sri Lanka, Your Holiness? We have lived with the war.
So indeed, it is very, very sad. Sri Lanka now Singhali, mainly Buddhist, and then Tamil, the Hindus.
Yes.
So this, like Northern Ireland, you see, appears some conflict, Catholic and Protestant, but actually the political reasons. And then I think these conflict in the name of religion, essentially either economy or political reasons. So I think we should not mix, you see, actual cause is economy, political reason. But then just use the name of religion. You see, we must make, because of the distinction. Political matter solve according political sort of the government on this level. The public level should not sort of, because of the involve the name of Hindus and Buddhists like that. So that I always feel. And when I was in Northern Ireland, I told our brothers, sisters, the political matter, that British government or Irish government let them settle. In the public level, it should not create some kind of misunderstanding between Catholic and Protestant. This is my feeling. Okay?
Your Holiness, I'm an American living in the Netherlands, and recently, in the past year, I've become very concerned about the negative influence of the United States government around the world in terms of wars and its imperialistic policies. But I'm also a Buddhist practitioner, and I've been practicing for the past 8 years. And one of my teachers, Choje Gawang Rinpoche, always said that politics makes things black. And I was wondering if you could give me some advice, because I'm becoming more involved in political activism, but I feel like maybe this isn't having a very good effect on my personal, spiritual development. So I was wondering if you could please give me some advice on this as to whether you think it's better for me to develop my spiritual growth, to focus on my spiritual growth, or to continue to try to influence the political situation in the world in a more positive way, in particular with the United States and its negative influence in the world.
I feel the very purpose of practice Dharma. Now your case, I think Dharma according to Nalanda tradition. So the very purpose of Dharma is serving other people. So in Kasota, Kasota, social well-being is all better. Social well-being and these, you see, the serving people, particularly needy people, itself practice of Dharma. So in order to serve these things tirelessly, you need some kind of determination. And that level, the practice of the Buddhicitta, as I mentioned before, very helpful. So it can go together. And then genuine practitioner involves some dirty politics, that is something different. Okay. Next question.
Question suivante.
Sa Sainteté, bonjour. Vous venez de coécrire avec Sophia Streetriver un nouveau livre, Nouvelle réalité, l'âge de la responsabilité universelle. À titre singulier, des individus, de la responsabilité que nous pouvons avoir, de la société civile. Comment pouvons-nous avancer vers cette responsabilité universelle?
How can we progress to universal responsibility according to this book or whatever?
Et avec les États-nations peut-être, ou en dépassant cette notion, comment pouvons-nous accéder au désarmement nucléaire
How can we
et
achieve
pour l'environnement
nuclear disarmament
à des solutions pour le bien commun?
et arriver au
Merci.
désarmement for common good, disarmament for common good?
I think in modern world, generally speaking, I think education, generally speaking, I think developed way, progressing everywhere. But you see the sense of the oneness of humanity, thinking about entire sentient being, at least entire humanity. Now that, because lack of that, education create more trouble, more problem. So therefore, it is not easy, but we have to work or make effort to promote sense of oneness of humanity. Think global level. We are part of the humanity. Humanity happy, peace. We individual get benefit. So even from the selfish viewpoint, the best interest to oneself is think other. In this case, think about well-being of humanity. So these, we need effort. First, I think firstly, the individual level, we should start. Then more people join, and then more kasota, group of people, and gradually NGOs, like that. That's my view. Of course, I should not expect some big change within few days or few years. Impossible. You have to work hard. Okay. Thank you. Next question.
Dear Holiness, we all know that you support the unity of science and religion. Now, why is it so important to have both worlds? And what can we do to strengthen that relationship? Thank you.
Over 30 years, we start dialogue with modern science, mainly 4 fields: cosmology, neurobiology, physics, particularly quantum physics, then psychology. So here, the ancient Indian tradition, sort of explanation about mind or psychology, mind. And also there are many methods how to deal with destructive emotion. Then quantum physics, very similar that of one ancient Indian sort of philosophical views. But however, now those ancient Indian sort of knowledge now last several centuries is much now neglected. So only we Tibetan keep using this knowledge. So it seems, you see, Nalanda tradition, Nalanda sort of Buddhist tradition, can be bridge modern science and spirituality. So now, over 30 years experience, you see, this kind of sort of meeting is a mutual benefit. We also get immense sort of benefit learning from scientific finding. To the scientist, mainly psychology or human mind, emotion, these things. So it becomes very clear, a mutual beneficial benefit, like that. So the very reason why is we have this kind of sort of dialogue, two reasons. One, modern science, I think up to late 20th century, not much talk about inner thing, particularly mind or these emotions. So even if some scientists, classical scientists, they do not sort of consider there is separate identity of consciousness, only brain. Now later part of 20th century, now that concept gradually now changing. You see, through their experiment, you see, through training of mind, some effect on our brain. So scientists, you see, they found some useful information and certain sort of useful sort of knowledge about mind or consciousness, these things. So modern science, the knowledge now expanding. So that's our one sort of reason or one purpose. Another purpose is that, like I already mentioned, you see, the moral ethics ultimately related with own feeling or sense of concern of others' well-being. So now scientifically, constant anger, constant hate, actually eating our immune system. So for good health, usually we call, in order to achieve a healthy body, we need healthy mind. So now these, not to explaining these on the basis of some sort of also the scriptures, but scientific findings. Actually, I fully committed the promotion of moral ethics. Some people call secular way. Some people say secular is some I don't know that word. So complicated in any way. So some people say, you see what as a universal value. So these entirely based on scientific finding and our common experience and common sense. Since these, because the basis to educate people, inform other people or children, you see, based on religious sort of context, then there are now out of 7 billion, over 1 billion non-believer. And among the believers also some sort of kasoda, some strange believer also there due to lack of genuine sort of moral principle. So therefore, you see, our sort of work combinedly modern scientists and combined with ancient Indian knowledge about mind, emotion. It can be more useful to humanity, serving to humanity. I always just make separation. Knowledge about science of mind or certain philosophical views such as quantum physics, these are not part of religion, but these should consider as an academic subject. Like that. Okay.
Your Holiness, okay. You began your talk with a note about the need for a disposition towards solidarity and inclusive friendship. What do you think about loyalty, particularly in friendship? Is loyalty a virtue, which is the fruit of trust, or is loyalty in principle destructive for universal compassion?
Loyalty, it is something general word. Loyalty, loyalty is some good thing, very good. Loyal to some more divisions, bad. Like that. 本来这想过啥咯？这这天的，要是想过成丢了，都是想过成要不多。Thank you.
Merci.
His Holiness, thank you very much for your really powerful insights. I'm coming from Bulgaria and I would like to ask you a question that was troubling me for years. And this is the question of ignorance that I believe so many Westerners we are experiencing. Massive ignorance. What I mean, I see kind people, I see good people that are doing good in the small surrounding, but on the big scale, a little bit out of Europe, we are not so kind, I think, and we are more ignorant. What I mean, 100 people die here in Europe, we massively mourn as a collective continent and people. That's good, that shows how kind we are. So many more people die in the Middle East and we don't do the same, or in Africa, and we forget that we even have some interference with these deeds. When the political crisis in Latin America happening, we also forget. But when the new, I don't know, music single of Lady Gaga or Katy Perry is coming, we don't forget that. Or the new iPhone is coming, we don't forget that. So I think we massively as a society are investing millions and millions of stupid things as the new technology or the new reality shows or the new music. And if we don't do that and we invest them, we could, I don't know, make the infrastructure of poor countries as Eritrea and build their roads, which they don't have. So I believe this whole thing is something like an ignorance bubble that is really uncomfortable for the people in power here in Europe and America, mainly maybe people from politics and from corporate nations, people with corrupted heart who want us to be ignorant. But my question is, how do you think we as an individuals and as a collective society could break out of this bubble of ignorance?
As I mentioned already, if present sort of condition or present our way of thinking is good, then no need special effort. As I mentioned earlier, you see, the present condition, a lot of man-made problem. Actually, now it is usual news, human being killing another human being, unthinkable. And worst thing, the religion generally is the source of inspiration, of compassion. Now that itself now causing for killing. So today's situation is, I think, very, very sad. We cannot remain indifferent with such sort of situation. Then how to sort of change this? Not easy. We have to, fundamental level, education through kindergarten level and up to university level. The generation who come through that kind of education, then will be more compassionate sort of generation. But today, we are not talking about sacredness or about human life. When it involves the concept of you should victory, other should defeat, isn't that kind of sort of concept there? And then others' life is value, because no value. Very sad. We should not repeat this 21st century like 20th century. Killing, violence. This century should be century of peace. Peace does not mean there is no longer conflict or source of conflict. Conflict remains there. Different opinions, different sort of interests always there. So the only way is try to solve these sort of contradictions, different interests through dialogue. So this 21st century should be a century of dialogue. Whenever some disagreement comes, then try to solve that through human way, not by force, not by gun. So our task, not easy, but since this is such, the work is really worthwhile. So we should not discourage, no matter how difficult it is. We have to keep enthusiasm, determination. That's my view. I agree. A lot of problems in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, and everywhere. And Europe also. In America itself also, there are some problems. I think all these things, lack of moral principle. And then at the same time, the 7 billion human beings cannot be religious-minded people. So we need some other way which can reach all 7 billion human beings through education, not through prayer, not through simple meditation.
I'm probably one of these people that you described in your speech as superficial. I travel a lot to Buddhist countries. I've also been to your country. I'm not a Buddhist. I'm touched by Buddhist philosophy. I come back to my world and then I fail terribly. I work in a corporate world. I work in a world probably that, like many people here, that is built on competition, on growth, on being successful. So my question is, can your concept of compassion and the corporate world, like we do it here in the Western world, can this be combined? Is there hope for us? So any advice from your side, I'd be very grateful for. Thank you.
I think also a generation who come through certain sort of the way of life or way of certain sort of cultural, I think materialistic culture, materialistic education, through materialistic education, then eventually the whole society live in materialistic life, materialistic culture. So very difficult. Meantime, just to complain that, hopeless, also wrong. Start, attempt now. After 20, 30 years, a new generation who come through more complete form of education, external value, internal value, then I think new world can be possible. So this moment, if may I say so, hopelessness.
Your Holiness, you've been an inspiration and an example of a real human being who has set commitments and made an effort towards those commitments in compassion, and showing how that could lead to such a joyful life that you have. And that really inspires people, and that's why people come out here to see how we can live a life of more commitment, more effort towards compassion, and lead more happier lives and share that happiness with other humans. One thing that's interesting to me, and it might be a tough question, but I wanted to pose to you, is how can we extend that idea of our oneness of humanity and our compassion for other humans to animal species, to plant species, and also to the living systems of water and our air and our earth that we depend on. Just like we're interdependent with other human beings, we're interdependent with these other living systems. And how can the youth and other people make life commitments to our larger ecosystem in the way that you have made towards the society and humanity as a whole? How can we make that sort of commitment and effort for the larger ecosystem and other living beings and systems?
I think a long time, as I already mentioned, I think some sort of plan, systematic way to educate future generation. Another, at this very moment, each person have some friend, at least 10, 15 friends. So share your view, share with your friends. Then each your friend, 10, 15, and they also have a friend. So can multiply from 1 person, 10 person, 100 person, 1,000 person, or 10,000 person, like that. And then set up some groups and making some special effort. Recently, I think 2 years ago, I was in Bombay. Many slums. So some young student came to see me. I told them, see, your own place, some slums there, start some education program to these children of these slums. This side, that side, then eventually you set up some kind of group, and more organized way to help children of these slums. I told them like that. So you see, firstly, we must have sort of initiative that must start by one individual. So should not think, oh, my effort will not affect, should not think that way. That's the only way. Like that. That's my view. So 2 ways. One way, long-term, systematic plan. One way, immediately try to make known more people through your friends, like that. Okay.
Donc là.
Thank you for
Une ici, à vous.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the opportunity for having the almost last question. You said in the light of the current world problems, it's so important to learn how to collaborate and to develop our sense of working together. Now, among the animals, there are species that are much smaller but far more advanced than we are in collaborating among each other, such as the honeybees. I mean, they're so small, but they know so well how to work together. I mean, their brains is as small as a head of a needle, but they know how to work together. So my question is, like, how can we develop a similar sense of collaboration that, in the case that our brains are much bigger and much more advanced than those tiny insects?
Sometimes, you see, it seems to see animal, small sort of bees like that, they have certain sort of, because of the sense of community. And that also is highly necessary. Unless they work together, live together, they can't survive. But we human beings, basically same sort of social animal. But then I think ancient time, it's okay. Just think your own family and your own community. Now today, not like that. The reality, each individual, the future, heavily interdependent. Western nation, their future depend on East. East nation, similarly, and Northern world, Southern world. That's today's reality. On top of that, environmental issue. So therefore, I think our thinking still keep ancient way of thinking. Me, we like that. The reality, everything interdependent. Now through education, through awareness, now we have to think global level through education. That I think bees cannot do that. I think our brain, bigger, larger, I think much smart.
Je suis kurde, je viens du Kurdistan. Et donc, Monsieur Dalai Lama, il a dit qu'il aimait les questions compliquées. Pour ça, mes questions sont très compliquées. Dear Dalai Lama, I have a question. If you, as a peaceful person, if you were in a blacklist and everybody know you like a terrorist, but you are a peaceful people, what would you to do? And also, if every day hundreds and thousand people in year try to behave very badly with you, and everybody try to judge you, and and even you don't have any private life, what will you do as the answer? But please don't tell me be strong, because I think I'm stronger than strong. Thank you.
Last question. The last answer is I don't know. No? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, problem huge. But if we remain indifferent, this problem will remain. So no matter how difficult it is, but we have to make an effort. Firstly, from individual, start from individual. Then we can say there is some possibility, some change. If we remain indifferent, then even small possibility also will not come. So make effort. As a human brain, this human brain, and compassion is source of determination. So combine our wisdom, the source of wisdom is our brain, our intelligence, and then the source of our determination, willpower is compassion. These two things combined. Then I think there is real hope. Me, now 81-year-old, I do not expect some big change within my lifetime. And you too also, I think. But I think you too may be in heaven. Sometimes I jokingly telling, after sort of 15, 20 years, then I will die. So then even I may sort of say, may go to hell. I get some permission for vacation, come to world to see whether you see humanity really now acting better or not. If not, when I return to hell, I will report hell should expand. So more people ready to come. If you see humanity becoming more mature, more compassionate, then I will report, now time come, the hell, the size of the hell can reduce. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now impossible. Only two hands. Only two hands. Okay, 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 okay. Thank you. Which way? This way. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mathieu. Mathieu.
Okay.
S'il te plaît.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Je vais offrir une grenouille.
Thank you, thank you.
D'accord.
Wil je niet, maar? Nee.